Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to NUFC Talk TV. During one of the most chaotic and transformative months in Newcastle United's recent history, we may have a genuine marquee signing on our hands. I'm Michael Grameslow, and joining me today is the mighty Win. And we're not here to talk about Ajax wonder kids Sean Stair, whose arrival was confirmed this morning, by the way. We're talking about Newcastle United agreeing a deal in principle with Europa League finalist Freiburg for a 20-year-old Swiss midfielder known as Johan Manzambi. Win, how are you feeling about the deal?
Is he human or is he Manza?
We'll see if that one kicks off.
Not just Europa League finalist, but Europa League young player of the tournament.
Yeah.
Incidentally.
Yeah, exactly. He had a fantastic tournament. Looks like he's going to do exactly the same at the World Cup. Well, he unfortunately has picked up a bit of an injury, and I don't know if he's actually going to be fit. But he was great, wasn't he?
Isn't that so typically Newcastle? This is a kid who has never missed a game through injury in his career. Newcastle goes sniffing, and he gets injured playing for his country. What could be more Newcastle United?
Exactly. We've seen it numerous times, and where the news has come from is The Athletic, who are saying Newcastle United have reached an agreement in principle to sign Johan Manzambi from Freiburg. The two clubs have reached an agreement on a deal worth in the region of 50 million for the Switzerland international. And you'll notice the name dropped there at the bottom. David Ornstein in there as well. So for those that wait for Ornstein or Romano, he is in there. But for right now, Newcastle United are in an absolutely fantastic position regarding this particular signing. Are we overall? Well, that's the one that many people are begging to differ on, because while spending 130 million with the potential arrival of Manzambi, that follows seeing Stur, Ewan Jowin and Bazumana Toure coming in. Despite that level of spending, they're still in the green with the sales of Sandro Tonali and Anthony Gordon coming in for around 180 million. Now, looking at what we've seen, let's be honest, everyone's worried Bruno's going to leave, Tonali and Gordon are gone, but the signings that are coming in, these young players, potentially unproven, it's a good sign that Newcastle United have changed strategy, isn't it?
Well, again, you're saying potentially unproven. They're not potentially unproven, they are unproven. And that is what we are buying, potential.
Yeah.
And it is a gamble. But what we've learned in the first 5 years of PIF is that we cannot slog it out with the big boys. We simply haven't got the revenue. And the sooner people realise that, the better. And Newcastle have maybe realised it a bit too late. With PIF coming in initially with their big bollocks pants on and saying this, that, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And, of course, Premier League closed the door on them with all of the financial restrictions. And they've come to the conclusion, realistically, I think, since then, that's not the pond we need to be fishing in.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that's most frustrating is that they've realised this probably a year too late. Because
At least a year too late.
Yeah, exactly. But I think the pivotal moment is if they had found this out, let's say 12 months before or even 16 months before, we'd probably be in a, there's hindsight's a beautiful thing, and you can never say we would be in a different situation. But buying established stars instead of, what we're doing now, buying players heavily between 18 and 23, the strategy can be interpreted in different ways. You could say, we no longer are moving in the direction that we had been. I know Ian said on the panel last night that he thought the project was dead and we were moving on to a new project. Or some might even say, you know what, you're buying these talented players because they're developed, because you expect them to develop into 80 million, 100 million footballers, just like Gordon and Tonali. But for me, when you see the rumours from before this particular signing, they were saying Newcastle are going to sign players between 20 and 40 million. Manzambi being a little bit higher than that might just indicate that there is something in the Bruno Guimaraes rumours. And what I want to ask you, Win, is if Bruno stays, is our midfield a little bit too packed? Because you're looking at it, who have we got? We've got Bruno, Joe Linton, Manzambi, Lewis Miley, Jacob Ramsey. Now at 20, well, he's not 28 million yet, but potentially a 28 million euros, should I say, central midfielder from Ajax, who isn't going to get game time with those five in front of him. What do you think?
How many seasons have we had playing Eddie Howe football, high intensity, high press, which is the best football we've ever seen, where that very intensity causes injuries?
It's caused a lot of injuries during Champions League seasons, so less so out of it.
What's caused us problems in the past, though, is not having the depth of squad to share that burden around. And so we predominantly played the same three till they were knackered, and then the fallback that we had when the big three were out, the drop down was marked. And so now we're hopefully in a position where we've got a much bigger squad and you share the load. And I include Bruno in that, by the way. He should not be playing 60 games a season now.
Yeah, he's getting a bit older, isn't he? And you would like to see him, rested with the idea of, he'll be able to be, playing at 100% in every game if he does stay. I just want to bring you...
A bit like City did with KVB.
Yeah?
KDB. Where the back end of he was coming on if they needed him. If like against Newcastle at the Park, they bring him on and push, everything changes. They get that 3 points, and we could hopefully be in that similar position where we can have Bruno sitting on the bench, and if we need the cavalry, we'll call him on. Meanwhile, the young guns are learning that trade. You've got Ramsey now, who isn't a young gun anymore. And I think he showed towards the back end of last season that his game is definitely coming on a bundle. And he is the one midfielder we had, apart from Bruno last season, who could carry the ball forward and do stuff. Yeah, so let's hope that continues. And we see the wisdom of buying him when we did.
Yeah, that was another thing. Obviously, Jacob Ramsey coming in, very different player. He's been given a year to settle now. You would expect him to have a big season for Newcastle. But where I want to focus on is what Manzambi could give to Newcastle that they've been missing over the last season. And what we have here is Manzambi's what percentile he's in for key passes, progressive passes, duels, possession won, carrying the ball forward, and forward passes. Now, what we're seeing here is, let's be honest, what Newcastle play with a lot is players who carry the ball forward from midfield. Tonali liked to carry. Willock is a player who, one of the best things he does is carry the ball forward. Let's be honest, we probably don't want him to play too much next season, but one of the things he does really well is carry the ball forward. Now, what it looks like here from Manzambi, and to be honest, it is worth noting here that Freiburg played Manzambi in a bit more of a central position. Switzerland have played him a little bit more advanced. But what we're seeing here is that in regards to midfielders, he is in the top 96 percentile, so top 4%, top 3 and a bit percent for progressive carries, and top 12% for key passes. The rest, duels won's pretty decent as well. What's that showing you is he isn't coming here to be the Tonali replacement. He isn't going to win with possession, but what he is going to be able to do is push forward for Newcastle and bring us forward on those counters. So from what you can see there, and obviously you've watched a lot of the World Cups so far, from what you've seen from Manzambi with Switzerland and what you can see here, does it feel like what Manzambi can bring is something Newcastle have maybe missed over the last season and a bit?
what he brings is what Tonali doesn't bring. Tonali was great at doing what he did, but in terms of creation, Tonali left a bit to be desired, in my opinion.
I'd agree.
Possibly because those were his instructions, and I'm not going to shy away from that. That Bruno was definitely given the license to roam around up front and not do so much of the defensive donkey work that Tonali did on his behalf, if you like.
Yeah.
But the video, I know you should never be swayed really by watching
YouTube videos.
a compilation video on YouTube. But I'm not saying I was ahead of the crowd here, but it was a week past Sunday when I put that compilation video, Is He Human, Is He Manza, on our forum for everybody to have a look at, way before it burst on the, whatever it was, the Tuesday or the Wednesday. And what you see in that is some ball recovery, some tackles, and not only ball, getting the tackle in, but coming away with the ball and progressing the ball, moving it forward, creating chances. As with most of those videos, you didn't see what happened to the chances. You just see the good bit, you don't see the bad bit, but that's the way they are. So you take them with a pinch of salt, of course. But what I've seen in the World Cup with Switzerland is, I went, wow, hey, why is nobody else after him? And here is the big problem, as far as I can see, with the Manzambi case, which is all of a sudden other people are alerted. We've been watching him since he was 16 or something at Servette, I read, or I heard. And, should we have dived in with 2 feet before the World Cup? You pay your money, you take your choice. You're saying, is he going to be the marquee signing? Is he a marquee signing, really?
He's probably going to be the most expensive we do. That's for certain. But I think
I don't know if I would consider him to be a marquee signing, to be fair. As excited as I am to be, hopefully, getting him.
Yeah, well, for me, he's going to be as marquee as we get, which is probably the negative. One last thing, just before we sign off, the one thing that this maybe does do for Newcastle is it leaves us in a bit of an issue where you do have a lot of central midfielders, but one thing that Bogey picked up on over the last few days, and so I never really agree with Bogey, but I do on this particular scenario, is leadership in that squad. And we've brought in a lot of young players so far. Do you think it's about time that Newcastle maybe go for some older players as well, just to balance out the experience? It doesn't have to be 10, just 1 or 2, just to get the experience balance correct. Do you think that's something Newcastle are going to do?
Well, here's an off the wall, suggestion.
Okay.
Man United today have released Casemiro. Now, you can say what you like about him. He has lost his legs, he's slowed down, but he's got all that experience. He's got, he could be the steadying voice. And maybe if we made moves for him, it might go somewhere to convincing Bruno to stay.
I'm going to leave that with our listeners. Casemiro would, and let's be honest, if you want to play with a high reputation, he's definitely got that, and he did improve last season for Manchester United. Who knows where he'll end up potentially? Saudi, potentially Brazil, or potentially joining Johan Manzambi and Ajax wonder kid. Was it? Sean Steyer, and Eddie said Stulo, and I knew that wasn't right, as Newcastle United players in the future. Let us know what your thoughts are on Manzambi, maybe even what your thoughts are on Casemiro as well. But from me and Win, this has been NUFC Talk TV, and we'll see you next time.
We're the lads. Come on, England.